Peace and blessings, family. Checking in again for a little bit for another edition of Spiritual Food for Thought. Well, family, as I always say, I hope that all is well in your relationship with the Creator, that you're at peace with Him, and even though, that we may be going through the struggles of this existence, trying to endure, trying to understand, trying to hang in there, and keep our insanity in spite of all the things that we're dealing with, that we still at a good place with our Creator. Because, family, as long as we cling to Him, that's the only thing that's going to get us through. Because it's the Creator that's our strength. It's everything that we are as we go on this journey to our inheritance, which is ultimately is going to be the kingdom of heaven. And that's as He brings us all into agreement with the understanding of His mind, that we know our place in Him. And we understand the reality, family, that all He ever wanted us to be is ourselves, but with the understanding of His mind, so that we could serve Him under the spirit of divine love as we love one another with the mind of understanding, family, so that we can understand that the gifts and talents and abilities that He's placed in us to love and to help one another is there. But this world has clouded our judgment and our understanding of truly what gifts and talents are. Because, the gifts and talents of this world that causes us the desire to be entertained and all these things, these are not real gifts, family. These are spells and things to keep us distracted from the things that really matter. And so, it's the understanding of the Spirit that gives us this understanding to discern these things for what they really are. And this is the beauty of the love of the Spirit, is giving us the discernment we need to recognize these things, to discern these things, so that we don't continue to be distracted with the cares of this world, but we understand our biggest need as the created beings that we are, that was created to serve our Creator under the spirit of love and understanding, family, so that we could be ourselves and that He could use us to be a blessing to the world around us, whether it's our fellow man or fellow creatures, or Mother Earth, who He brought us all forth from, such as the kingdom of heaven. And this is ultimately what we're in the midst of now, beginning to see it manifest itself as the Father reveals the truth of, and His absolute truth of what we've really been dealing with. As He's dispelling all the lies and the traditions and teachings of men and doctrines of devils that keeps us enslaved to the cares of this world. Because as I said, this is the realm of our creation process, where we're in the process of being created, as the Father had to allow us to go through this process as we deal with and caught up in the battle of good and evil, so that we can understand ultimately what things are really about and the purpose of things. Understanding the reality, family, that the only way that the Father could prove the investment of His Spirit that He's placed in those who do understand and believe is that we had to be tried and tested with the things of this world. Ultimately understanding that this is our journey to the kingdom. This is not our home. Okay, we had to go through this process to be born again, to be born of the Spirit, that we might come into our inheritance of the kingdom. Okay, and ultimately, as I said, the kingdom of the Creator, to see the manifestation of this, is His greatest desire. Is when we're all made one with the mind of His understanding, family, that we can be in service and help to one another. Okay, because the bottom line is the only thing that He meant for us to rule is ourselves, but we can't rule ourselves if we don't understand ourselves, so that we know how to rule over ourselves. To prove that reality, family, the last fruit of the Spirit is what? Self-control. So how can we control self if we don't understand ourselves? Through the spirit of His divine love that makes us one with Him, each other, our fellow creatures, and Mother Earth, and who he brought us all forth from. Such is the kingdom of heaven. So, with that said, family, before I start, I just want to make my little disclaimer. I'm not no teacher. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or believe or none of that. I'm not even trying to convince you of anything. I'm just putting things out there that you might consider and take these things to the Creator yourself. Because ultimately it's about us developing that relationship with our Creator, family. Because without a relationship with the Creator, we can't understand ourselves. And we can't understand ourselves, we can't understand our purpose. So if we don't understand these things, how can we walk in them? We can only be walking to our own destruction as we slaves to the spirit of pride that causes us to deify our desires above the perfect will of our Creator. So as we're enslaved to our desires, family, what are we? We are on God. And so we're headed for our own destruction. Because we're continuing to lie to ourselves and deceive ourselves that this experience is all about us living it up and enjoying pleasure and having our way and all of these old kind of things. And it's not in service to the divine love of our Creator. So what are we doing? We ain't going to have nothing to stand on. So this is why, family, I'm just trying to encourage you. You got to seek the Creator for yourself. Because until you know yourself in Him, you don't know anything. And that's the absolute truth. So if we don't know, family, how can we walk in His divine truth if we don't know what that truth is? So that revelation can only come by a relationship with the Creator for yourself. Because no man can tell you how to have a relationship with the Creator or anything like that. Because if we ain't been drawn by His Spirit, then, we ain't one of His. And that's just the truth. As the scripture says, it's not that we first love Him or we choose to love Him. It's that He chose to love us first. And so the only reason we love the Creator, family, as a child of His is because He first loved us. Thus, He put His Spirit in us to cause us to desire a relationship with Him in the first place. So, family, no man can boast or take credit about the mighty work that the Creator is doing in him or us because it's all His choice. And so the bottom line is as we come face to face with our Creator, family, we're humbled and we're brought to a place where we really begin to appreciate His love for us, because as we begin to understand these things through His eyes, family, He's the only way we're going to make it. Because, as I said, we are created beings that was created to serve Him. And as I said, all of creation serves Him, whether, it's in understanding or it's in ignorance. And the bottom line is, as a child of the Creator, family, under the spirit of His divine love, that's what matters to us, is to understand all things concerning our own lives. Because as I said, all He ever meant for us to be is ourselves, but with the understanding of His mind. So anything that's going to distract us and keep us from understanding this reality, family, it's a lie and a deception. And so we must be born again. It's not an option. And to be born again is to receive the spirit of the mind of our Creator, under the spirit of His divine love that makes us all one with Him first, ultimately each other, our fellow creatures, and Mother Earth, who He brought us all forth from. Because, family, all of creation is one expression of the Creator. So every living thing is of the Creator. And so we get, right now, as we in this process of being creation, we under the spirit of death, which is what our pride is made subject to. So we got to be delivered from that. We had to be delivered from the spirit of death. And the only way to be delivered from the spirit of death is to receive the spirit of life. And that's the life of our Creator. So, with that said, what I want to touch on is that we got to understand the war within, okay? Right now, it's wars going on in this world. And it's just war, war, war. And we look around us and we see that we're at odds with each other. We're at odds with our fellow creatures in this world. And we're at odds with the earth and who we came forth from. Because family, understanding that, as we walk in this darkness under the spirit of pride, family, we're at war with nature. And as I said, to be at war with nature is to be at war with the Creator. Now, the only way that we can get past this, family, it has to start as we understand the war within. Okay, we got to understand, family, that right now where we are, as we experience this process of creation, family, there's two natures in this temple. Okay? And we have to understand there's the nature of the Creator under the spirit of his divine love that will make us all one. And then there's the nature, which is our dark side of the devil. And that's that part of us that's self-aware. That's that part of us that only desires anything that lifts it up, that makes it more self-aware, that causes us to believe that the creation of our Creator is to serve us and to bring us peace, to bring us joy. That's one of the reasons why in our flesh we caught up in this spirit of entertainment, because entertainment is a thing that's really detaining us as we're distracted from the reality that what we're really supposed to be about, family, is about service to our Creator. And so as we understand these things through the eyes of the Spirit, family, we have to understand that we serve the Creator as we serve one another under the spirit of divine love. Okay? Because the bottom line is, family, without the understanding of the love of the Creator, this is why the world exists like it does. This is why it's in the condition that it's in. Because in our flesh, family, we have deified ourselves and made a God, the God of our own desires. And our lust for pleasure is the thing that drives us. So we do the things that we do with the ultimate result in mind is bringing about our own pleasure. Okay, the bottom line is the only way that we can truly be in service to our Creator, family, is through the spirit of his divine love that gives us the understanding of our divine purpose in service to our Creator. And understanding that, family, that the only thing that he meant for us to rule is ourselves. But we can't rule ourselves if we don't understand ourselves. And we can't understand ourselves without the spirit of his mind. And that's the spirit of our Creator, under the spirit of his divine love, that makes us one with him first, ultimately each other, our fellow creatures, and Mother Earth, who he brought us all forth from. Because all things that the Father create are a living organism. So all of us have a purpose and place under his divine love that puts us in his divine order that brings us into the holiness that all that he is. Because as I said, divine means one and holy means order. And so if the created beings don't understand their purpose, then they can't be in order. So that's why you got this chaos and everything, this hell that we exist in right now. Because as I said, hell is any place that's outside the divine will and understanding of the Creator. So that's why we got this world in the shape that it's in. That's why we in the shape that we're in. Because we out of order. Because in our flesh, we don't know the divine order of our Creator. This is why our minds have to be renewed and made one with him through the understanding of his mind. So the bottom line is, as I said, we're so distracted about the wars that's going on around us that we don't see the war that's going on within us. This is the ultimate war that we're all experiencing. That's in this creation process that we're going through, while we're all experiencing this battle of good and evil that's going on within us. Okay, but the thing that we're lacking and we're not understanding through the mind of the spirit family is our need, and the only way that we're going to overcome this battle that's going on within us is to be born of the spirit of our Creator. And that's to receive his mind for the asking. Because as I've said, the spirit of the Creator is not going to drop in our laps. We have to desire it. The scripture says that he would gladly and freely give his spirit to those who ask. So when we ask for his spirit, we're asking for his mind. We're asking for the spirit of his divine love that ultimately will put us in our place as we understand what's going on and what we're truly dealing with. Okay, and what we're dealing with right now, family, is our creation process. It's really simple as that. So the war within is our creation process. Okay, so the only thing that's going to deliver us from our creation process is as our minds receive the understanding of our Creator. Because it's one step at a time. It's one moment at a time. It's one day at a time. Okay? This is a process that's been preordained for those who the Father has imparted his spirit in, because it's the only way that he could prove the investment of his spirit that he's placed in those of us who do understand. Thus we are able to believe, because he didn't wire us to believe things we don't understand, family. And we have been taught by this world that we're supposed to have faith and believe things in spite of the fact whether we understand them or not. Well, this is how we're lied to, and this is how we're defeated, and this is how we never learn to overcome. Because, family, if we say we believe things that we don't understand, we're lying to ourselves. So therefore, the battle is being lost. Okay, because the bottom line is it's been charged to us in all our getting to get understanding. That's not faith, family. The Creator is not creating anything by no faith. It's through his understanding of his creation. It's how he's creating all things. So, those of us who are his children, it's not meant for us to accept things we don't understand. Because until we understand, family, we can't overcome the darkness of this world without understanding. So this is how we're going to press through in our journey to the kingdom as we overcome this born again process that we're dealing with right now, this war within, to get the mind of the spirit of our Creator to overcome the lies that we've been told and exposed to by the powers of darkness, which is the spirit of our pride, which is what and who the devil is. Because as I've said, the devil is the spirit of our pride. So it's the spirit of Christ in us, okay, that the spirit of the devil or pride is at war with the spirit of Christ that's in us. So the bottom line is that's this battle that we dealing with between good and evil. Because ultimately, family, good comes forth as good comes to all of creation. because this is what the flow of life is. Evil comes as the flow of life is cut off, because the flow of life gets cut off when a created being desires to rule or control others. Okay? Fellow creation. This is what cuts off the flow of life. Thus, it creates the spirit of death. Okay? So, understanding that the spirit of the divine love of our Creator is life. And anything that opposes that cuts off the flow of life, is the spirit of death. That's what's going on in us. This war of life and death is going on inside of each of us. So the only way we can hope to overcome the spirit of death, family, is to receive the spirit of life. And that's the understanding of our Creator, where He allows us through His Spirit to partake of the tree of life, because our Creator, under the spirit of His divine love, is the tree of life. Our Creator is the tree of life. The devil is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is the things of the flesh and of this world. And see, in our flesh, we hunger and we lust after knowledge, because we desire knowledge so that we can determine what we need to do to manipulate our environment to get what we want. Period. That's what it's about. And that's the spirit of pride that causes us to do that. That's what the devil is. And so the only way we could be delivered from that is that we have to receive the spirit of life, which is the spirit of understanding the mind of our Creator under the spirit of His divine love, that ultimately is going to make us one. Because it starts with each of us understanding our place within His divine will and order, and what He desires for us, and how we truly can serve Him under the spirit of His divine love. And that's as we understand the gifts and the talents and the abilities and all the things that He's put within us and invested in us in His Spirit, family. This is how we able to serve others and serve one another as we love one another under the spirit of His divine love. So then we're able to bless and help each other continue to walk in eternal life. Whether it's our fellow man or our fellow creatures who are another expression of the Creator, and the earth who He brought us all forth from, which is another expression of the Creator. Every living thing is an expression of the Creator. And the thing is that because of the spirit of pride, or the devil, or evil, whatever you want to call it, is what has everything out of order in this realm that our consciousness is in right now. So we have to be delivered from this. And so the bottom line is, deliverance is only going to come to those who desire or see their need for deliverance. Because it's when we understand that in our flesh we are helpless, but it's only through the Spirit of Christ that's in us that we can do all things, and that includes overcome this flesh and become victorious in this war within. Because the scripture says that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And when I'm saying Christ, family, I'm talking about the spirit of the Creator. I'm not talking about no man. I'm talking about the spirit of the Creator that was in the man that we claim to be our Messiah. And as I said, family, the Messiah is the spirit of the Creator, because the only way, okay, that the so-called Messiah was able to walk in the power that he walked in was what? Is because the spirit of his Father that was in him. He kept acknowledging that. He kept pointing that out. He kept lifting up the Father, because without the Spirit of the Father, he couldn't have walked the way he walked. He couldn't overcome death. Okay, so the reality is, family, he was an example of what and who we are, but we haven't realized it. He brought forth that example as the Father spoke through him, and then he demonstrated on how a child of the Creator is to carry ourselves. But then he made it known how he was able to do that, as he acknowledged the Spirit of the Father that was in him. Okay, because he said, I seen what I seen of my Father. I spoke the things that my Father spoke. Yeah, because he was filled with the Spirit of his Father. And so by his example and by him overcoming death, it made it possible for us to receive the same Spirit. As he said, it's better that I go away, because if I don't go away, then the Spirit won't come. So the bottom line is, as he went away, so that the Father would send the same Spirit that empowered him, that's empowering us right now to receive these divine revelations and truths of what and who we really are in him. But we haven't understood that or known that, because the time wasn't right, and because of the ignorance that we've been walking in, and the lies that we've been made subject to by the teachings and traditions of men and doctrines of devils that kept us caught up in the spirit of pride that ultimately separated us from the divine love and understanding of our Creator. But as now the time of the refreshing is here, the time of the harvest is here, the Father is opening up the mysteries of the kingdom to show us things that we've been praying for, that we already possess. But we don't even realize these things because of the darkness that we've been in. But now he's in the process of dispelling all these lies and these things that we taught that caused us to remain in the bondage that we've been in. Because as we come into the full understanding of the Spirit of Christ that's in each of us, family, we're going to become who and what he desired us to be as his children. And ultimately, family, we're going to deliver ourselves through the power of the Holy Spirit that's in each of us, who he's chosen. So the bottom line is, as I said, family, until we understand the war that's going on within, then we can't be delivered. Because how do we know what to pray for if we don't understand really what's going on and what we're truly dealing with? So understanding that reality, family, without the power of the Spirit of our Creator, we can't overcome our dark side. And as I said, we got to understand there's two natures in here, and that battle is for our minds. Because see, the mind is the pinnacle of this earthen vessel. So the bottom line is, who's sitting on that throne there, that pinnacle? You see what I'm saying? Is the Spirit of Christ, or is the spirit of pride? And it's got to be one or the other. And so understanding right now, as we go through this process of creation, that battle is going on. So the bottom line is, ultimately, the Father is going to give us what we want. If we want to be our own God, then as he said, our own wickedness is going to correct us. But if we want to be a child of his, then guess what? It's the Spirit of Christ that's in us that's going to cause us to manifest the children of his that we are in him. Okay? So the bottom line is, this is why he says things like, seek and you shall find. Knock and the door be open unto you. Ask and it be given unto you. See, because one of the things as this creation process plays itself out, family, this is why, as a child of the Most High, we have to keep asking. And we have to keep seeking. He said, if you seek me, I will reveal myself to you. So everything is conditional. And so the bottom line is, family, for every action, there's a reaction. So we can't say that we desire to know the will of the Creator and yet continue to seek the things of this world. See what I'm saying? That's a contradiction. That's an oxymoron. And so the bottom line is we can't say we love the Creator, yet we continue to seek the things that deify and lift up our flesh. We can't do that, family. And so we need the understanding of the mind of our Creator to continue to even seek and search Him out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the spirit of His divine love that causes us to actually recognize and understand the war within us, okay, and what's going on, so that we can be honest and true to ourselves to continue to ask for things that's relevant for our deliverance. Okay? And the first thing that's relevant for our deliverance is to continue to ask for the understanding we need to know how our Creator sees us. You know what I'm saying? Whether we at peace with Him or not. If it's something in our lives that needs to be dealt with, that need to be removed, that's hindering us. All of these things, family, we need to understand these things, and these things need to be relevant for us enough to continue to seek and search out the will of our Creator. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, one of the things that this just came to mind that the scripture says, it says only the fool has said in his heart that there's no Creator. And the bottom line is a fool is simply a person whose understanding is darkened. And so the reality, family, we have to understand, as I've said, the only reason that we believe in a supreme being or our Creator is because He put that awareness in our minds, in our essence, that causes us to believe that reality. And so as we understand that we are created beings that was created to serve our Creator in spirit and truth, family, this is the very thing that draws us to desire to understand our purpose. It causes us to question our existence. It causes us to wonder why we're here, what we're really supposed to be doing, what's really going on, because it's the desire for His absolute truth that causes us to do these things, to question our existence. So the bottom line is, as I've said, family, you know, as we go through this journey, as we continue to question our existence, family, it's a good sign that we belong to Him. Because the bottom line is, family, as a created being and as a child of His, I can't imagine existence without Him. And there ain't nothing in me that desires to go a day without His being outside His presence. You know, and the reality is, family, you know, as a continue to grow in understanding of the things or what we dealing with, family, you know, it's like even in those times, family, when we don't have words or we seem to be in a dark place, that we struggling and all these things, family, it doesn't mean He's not there. He's there. But we get sometimes, family, we get so caught up in our emotions. And as I mentioned about in another video, is that, you know, our emotions is the thing that the powers of darkness keep us tied up in the cares of this world. And it keeps us separated from the awareness of our Creator. And it even keeps us from realizing that the ultimate battle that we're dealing with is the battle that's going on within. And so the bottom line is, family, it's only through the power of the Spirit that we come into that reality of this war that's going on inside of us. And so understanding that it's only through the revelation of His mind as our Creator, and as we continue to ask for a greater portion of His Spirit, that's going to give us the strength and the understanding we need to continue to press forward and to overcome our emotions and our fears and all of these things, whether it's things that's in the past that's happened to us that keep us tied up in these things, that keep us from receiving our deliverance. Okay? And so this is why I'm saying, family, we got to understand the war within so that we can overcome the darkness in our existence, family, who is our true enemy. It's being ignorant from the perfect will of our Creator under the spirit of his divine love that separates us from him, that powers or that spirit of pride in us that keeps us from receiving his love, that causes us to sometimes come into those places where we feel that he's left us, but he promised that he wouldn't leave us or forsake us. It's just that as we caught up in our feelings, we lose that awareness of this war that's within and lose understanding that that's something that the powers of darkness will use against us to discourage us, to break us down, to make us want to give up. You see what I'm saying? But the bottom line is knowing and trusting in that promise that our Creator made, that he wouldn't allow more to come up on us than we can handle. But also, with that temptation, he would make a way for us to escape that we'll be able to bear it. You know what I'm saying? And as the other promises, some of the other promises, that greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. He that begun a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. And now unto him that's able to keep us from falling and present us blameless. And so we have to stand on these things in them times, family, when we're ready to give up. Because, as I said, I believe that promise, that, no matter how hard it gets, that's what pulls me out. And I remember those things, that he wouldn't allow more to come on me than I can handle. So the bottom line is, hey, regardless of what happens, it was said to those of us who believe, we love not our lives unto death. Okay, so the bottom line is, family, to know that he has us and that it's part of this war that's going on within us. So it ain't so much the war that's going on around us that can hurt us. Because in reality, he said, fear not him that can kill the body, but fear him that can destroy the body and soul. So the reality is, family, regardless of what comes against our flesh ultimately, that could even take us out of here. The bottom line is our spirit is intact. And so the bottom line is we got to understand the war that's going on within. And the only way we can do that, we have to continue to ask for our portion of the mind of the spirit of our Creator, family, that'll give us peace even in the midst of all the stuff that we dealing with in this world. This world can frustrate the hell out of us sometimes and overwhelm us, but family, we can't stay in them places when that time happens. We have to rise above that. And it's through the understanding of the mind of our Creator that gives us the strength that we need to withstand and to continue ultimately to bring us to the place where we win this war. Because just because we might lose some battles sometime, it don't mean we're going to lose the war. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, even though we might lose a battle sometimes, we're going to get right back up. And ultimately, that battle we lost, we're going to overcome it through the power and understanding of the Spirit of our Father. Okay, so with that said, family, I think that's about all I got to say. But understanding the importance, family, we must understand the war within, because that's the war we got to win. Doesn't matter about these wars out here. The war within is the one we got to win. And as we a child of the Creator, and through the power of his Spirit, just like in the end he win, through his Spirit, we gonna win in the end as well. So family, with that said, I just pray that I said something to get you to consider and to think. And I pray that the Most High would continue to bless you and keep you and watch out over you in every way, family, as long as you continue to seek and search him out for yourself. So, With that said, until next time, I'm going to say one love and peace.